Nearly 2/3 of Americans who planned on buying a home this year are actually sitting on the sidelines waiting for mortgage rates to fall. Nearly 86% of those surveyed say now is a bad time to buy a home. I mean, I get it. Mortgage rates skyrocketed in the last few years. True, they have dropped from their high last fall of 8% to 7%. But that is still pretty unappetizing after the unbelievably low rates of 2 to 3% that we saw just a few years ago. But is waiting for rates to drop before buying a home the right decision? Many argue it's not. Conventional wisdom tells us that home prices should be dropping given the high cost of financing. But that's not what's happening. Even though new home purchases have slowed, their prices remain elevated, hitting a record high just in May of this year. Since 2020, home prices have surged 47%. They are expected to rise another 3% this year. With many homeowners hesitant to give up their 3% mortgage, home inventory is low, very low. According to a chief real estate analyst, most cities have around 50 to 60% of the inventory that they had prior to the pandemic. And given that many of our millennials haven't even bought their first home yet, we expect lack of inventory to be a problem for a while. When rates do drop and everyone on the sidelines starts shopping, experts expect homes to not only hold their value, but more likely increase again in price. It's simple supply and demand. So maybe it does make more sense to beat the crowd and buy now, even with higher interest rates. Here's what you need to consider if you are looking for a new home. Number one, home prices are very sensitive to geographic regions. Look up market data in your area. Are prices rising or are they falling? If they're on the decline, maybe waiting it out isn't such a bad idea. But if they are on the rise, the more you wait, the more it will cost you. Number two, how much can you afford? Real estate agents love to say, marry the house and date the rate. And it makes sense. If rates fall, you can always refinance. And yes, we do expect rates to fall eventually, but you should never buy a home you can only afford if rates fall. Make sure you are purchasing a home you can afford at the rate you lock in on day one. If rates fall, great, refinance, but don't count on it. And finally, how stable is your employment? Economists are predicting a 30% chance of a recession in the near future. How confident are you in your household income? If there is a recession, what is the risk you could be laid off? And for the record, these considerations all apply to those looking to build a home. New construction also gets more expensive every year. Experts project a 6% increase in the cost of building in 2024. For most Americans, their home is the largest and most important purchase they'll make. Take your time and be very thoughtful, but maybe don't take too long. That's it for this week. This is Jeannie, the 401k lady.